right, so you got, I'll quote Axios. I don't usually. Davos sneak peek. Trump, Bessent bring American bravado to the world stage, including Greenland. Let's talk about the case for all of that. Let's bring in Marc Thiessen, Fox News contributor, and Doug Holtz-Eakin, American Action Forum president, former CBO director. Marc, you've covered this Greenland beat, and you've talked about it. You were on Brett Baier last night, and you're knocking the cover off the ball. And I don't think anybody's made a better, no one's made a better case for it than you do. So we are delighted that you could come and join us on Fox Business. And you know, look, anybody worth their salt, I think, would acknowledge the strategic importance of Greenland, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. So it's very important, first of all, because of global warming, because the Arctic ice is melting, and so it's going to open up a sea lane, what's called the Northwest Passage, which usually only opens up in the summer, but it'll eventually be open up year-round, and that will take the time it takes to sail from the Atlantic to the Pacific, cut it down to 20 days, and that's like the same value as the Panama Canal. It is huge, both economic and military implications for that. Second, China is moving into the Arctic. They're trying to build what they call a polar Silk Road through the Arctic. Russia is dramatically increasing its number of icebreakers, its presence there. And so we need Greenland, a U.S. presence in Greenland, to counter China, to counter Russia, and also we need it for the Golden Dome, because if right now, if from the Pacific we can build the Golden Dome bases in Alaska, and that's the perfect spot to shoot down missiles coming from China. We need Greenland to shoot down missiles coming from Russia. It has the same efficacy there. That's why we have the first space base in Greenland right now. We need multiple space bases. We need multiple naval bases in order to protect American national security.
All right, so before I get to my Doug Holtz-Eakin, just one more. How can the NATO European countries, Marc, not understand just what you just said? How can, I mean, if they stop yapping at Trump, he'll make their countries safer, he'll make NATO stronger, he'll keep elbowing out China and Russia. I thought that's what we want.
Yeah, well, he hasn't done it exactly very diplomatically, to be fair. You know, he's done it in typical Trumpian style. We need it, we're taking it, it's ours. And that's great. I think he's absolutely right on the merits of it. I think that there's a solution that solves the European problems, and the solution is actually 90 miles off of our shore. It's called Guantanamo Bay. We got Guantanamo Bay in 1903 when Teddy Roosevelt signed a lease in perpetuity for the naval base in Guantanamo Bay, a deep water port there, and we still have it today despite almost 7 decades of a communist regime that wants to kick us out. So we have total control of Guantanamo Bay. We don't need all of Greenland, because most of it is ice, an ice sheet a mile thick. We need some military bases there, so why don't we just identify the bases we want and offer to lease them in perpetuity, like Guantanamo Bay. It'll be ours. We control. Denmark will have sovereignty over 100% of Greenland. We'll have 1% that we need for military purposes that will be under our operational control, like Guantanamo Bay.
So, Doug Holtz-Eakin, you've done it before, and I want you to please do it again. How much would this cost? I mean, if it were an absolute, I'm not really sure we have the money for it at the moment.
Well, I mean, look, I think Marc has said it exactly right. It's valuable because of its location. It's an important strategic location. I think that should be obvious to everybody. So to get a notion of sort of what that's worth, we took the next closest thing, Iceland, which at the moment allows us to keep track of Russia coming out of the Baltic Sea, but we don't yet have the polar melt to deal with. But if you price Greenland at Iceland prices, you get $2.8 trillion. That's sort of the maximum you'd want to write a check for to get that location. So, you know, that gives you a ballpark number about how important that location is strategically. And I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. The other thing you hear a lot about Greenland is it has tons of minerals, and that's absolutely true. If you take their known reserves and you price them, it's like $4.4 trillion. The trouble is, they're not economically recoverable. There's like a 1 mile ice sheet over most of it. So there's about $200 billion worth of minerals. So it's really the location that drives the value. And the next question then is, how do you get access to that location? And that's the art of the deal. Is it purchase? Is it take it militarily? or is it lease it, as Marc said? And, you know, there are different ways to get those locations.
Well, he himself has said, I mean, nobody's paying any attention to it. He said in the Truth Social that he wants to negotiate. And he's going to have meetings. He said this morning he's going to have meetings when he gets to Davos with the NATO countries. So, I mean, I know there's always a shock and awe here, but I think he does want to negotiate. Marc, is there oil? Does Greenland have oil, too? Is there a petroleum play up there?
There may be some oil, but it's mostly rare earths and minerals. So, and as Doug says, they're under an mile of ice. But I'll give you two good reasons why the lease deal is better than the purchase. Number one, it's cheaper. As Doug pointed out, why do we want to? 80% of it is covered by an ice sheet that we can't get. Why do we want to pay for an ice sheet we can't do anything with? Let's just lease the land we need, the 1% around the coast. And second of all, as Bernie Sanders pointed out, the people of Greenland have Scandinavian social welfare benefits. They get free college education. They have free universal health care. They have 52 weeks of paid leave. And so if they become U.S. citizens, we have to give that to them. And then Americans will start asking, why do the people of Greenland have this, but we don't? So why don't we let the Danes control sovereignty of Greenland and pay for their social welfare, and we just lease the bases we need, and let them worry about socialism, and we'll worry about protecting capitalism and freedom.
I like that. I mean, you know what? 2 Senate seats and a House seat, along with socialism. It's a very expensive proposition. I like the lease back. I like the lease back idea more and more the more you listen to it. Thank you, gentlemen. Marc